Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Gina. Thanks for joining me. I'm just getting connected to all the channels right now. Give me a second here. It takes a few. Oh, Instagram. It's always the one. Anyway, hi. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to give up on Instagram today, just for today, because it's not connecting. So thank you so much for joining me. Today is Fertility Day 3 of 100. And I'm doing 100 days of fertility and egg quality, how to optimize your fertility health, how to improve your chances of getting pregnant, either using natural medicine, combining natural medicine with allopathic. And for a lot of women who use IVF or IUI, by improving egg quality, you can increase the chances of having a successful transfer on the first round. So who wouldn't like to avoid having multiple IVF rounds, right? It's expensive. It can be really stressful. It takes time, and it's best if you just get pregnant on the first round. So let's get into it. Yesterday I had mentioned that we would talk about prenatal vitamins today, right? I don't think enough people talk about why women take prenatal vitamins. And I also want to talk a little bit about the difference between a prenatal vitamin and a multivitamin. Like, why do the switch when you're trying to get pregnant? And also talk a little bit about the quality of supplements and vitamins and why do we even need to take any vitamins? Okay, so that's some of the topic. But before we get into that, I am putting in the chat right now. I added a link in there. If you didn't get it, then it looks like it was a little long. But if you didn't get the link, then reach out and I will post again after the live is over. But basically what I'm doing is I'm inviting you, and this is a very public forum, right? This is on Facebook and YouTube and TikTok and Instagram. And what I invite you to do is ask me questions, but I have a private live weekly, a Zoom. And basically there is a link in the comment section there. You're welcome to join me there. And we're really careful on who we let into that group. So then you have a little bit more privacy, and it is a free group to jump in and just kind of see what I'm talking about in there. But you're more than welcome to do that. And then also don't forget to subscribe on whichever channel that you're watching now, just so you get the notification. We're only on day 3. And I picked 100 days. Why? Because it takes 90 to 100 days to improve egg quality. So this is perfect. If you start to pick and choose and maybe you add in one thing a day, or you add one thing that resonates with you and that you know you need to focus on, then you just start adding in more positive things, and it becomes more habitual. And I'll get into that in a second with the prenatal vitamins. But I do like to remind any woman who's trying to improve their health, whether you're trying to get pregnant or maybe you're in menopause or perimenopause, something like that, you always want to take a little bit of information and not stir the pot and mix it up with, say, going on Dr. Google and pulling like a sentence from this person and this person's one experience of getting pregnant. And then and who is that person? And then all of a sudden you've got 5, 6, 7 people's opinions. And that creates overwhelm, and that prevents having a solid plan to move forward. So it's really best to feel comfortable to pick 1 or 2 things to focus on, like red flag kind of areas like egg quality or maybe gut biome or gut inflammation, and take some action. And it could be the simplest thing is like increasing your water intake, but you took action that day. I think, myself included, I'm guilty with this, is I overeducate. And then you feel so like, whoo, I got a lot done today. But maybe your brain did, but maybe we didn't start our journey yet. We didn't start actually putting everything that we read about or heard about online. We haven't put that into action. And sometimes we count that as moving forward, and it's really collecting. information. So I want you to avoid doing that. And one last thing is I am not your doctor, unless I actually am your doctor, but I'm not your doctor. I do work with patients locally in Colorado, and I do have some people come out and see me from out of state, so I can be their doctor. I also work with clients in group or one-to-one, and that's more of a coaching relationship. So anything that I discuss in here is based on research primarily, and also clinical experience, clinical results with patients and with clients. So take what you want from it. And my goal is to help to empower you so you have a more solid plan on your fertility journey. But take this information and always check in with your doctor or whomever you're working with locally. And then, of course, feel free to reach out and ask questions in there. And I'm looking at a couple different screens. So if for some reason I don't see your question pop up, then what I do is I will add your question to the next day. We're on day 3. Let's get started. So I want to talk today just about prenatal vitamins and why do we take prenatal vitamins versus multivitamins when women are trying to get pregnant. So for multivitamins, it's really a general population vitamin, regardless of gender or pregnancy status, right? So when vitamins were created, they were created on a male needing X amount of this vitamin, and that was for everybody. All of a sudden, women, whether you weighed 120 pounds or 200 pounds, if you're a male that weighed 150 pounds versus 300 pounds, everybody was recommended to take the same amount or the same dose, which, I mean, if you think about it, that's kind of silly, but that's how I got started. And so multivitamins have more of like a broad spectrum of vitamins and minerals, and they're really looking at overall health. So they're not targeting fertility at all. And not to say that you won't or a woman wouldn't get benefit from taking a multivitamin, but why not do the switch to a prenatal? And they technically, like it's always good to read the labels, right? And you can even look at the iron, if it has iron or folic acid compared to prenatal vitamins, there's a huge discrepancy. There's a big difference there. So we want vitamins when women are trying to get pregnant. We do want to take vitamins that are targeted to women who are trying to get pregnant or women that are breastfeeding as well. So these are a couple things that we need to consider. And so for prenatal vitamins, they're targeting pregnant women, but also women trying to conceive and then breastfeeding mothers. And then the nutrition, the composition of the nutrients in there is targeting these goals for getting pregnant, staying pregnant, and then also targeting supporting the developing fetus. So that's really important to take a prenatal versus a multivitamin. So we got that. But we want to look at key nutrients that are in much higher amounts in a prenatal versus a multivitamin. So folic acid. And folic acid is at a much higher level because it's there to prevent a neural tube defect in the fetus. And then we also want to look at the iron levels are much higher, and this supports the development. And your women are growing babies in their bodies. Isn't that amazing? So we want to support the development of placenta and the fetus. And this also compensates to have a higher level of iron for the increased blood volume during pregnancy. It's not uncommon to see women get iron deficient or even anemic during pregnancy. I was extremely anemic during pregnancy, right out of the gates. Within the first, probably by 6 weeks, I was showing a lot of anemia in my body, in my system, which I didn't have and prior to that. So there's a number of reasons for that, right? But it is because you're growing a baby and you need more support and more supplements. And the other thing is, if you think about it, when you do get pregnant, I don't, it just depends on the woman, but some people have morning sickness or all day sickness. That was me. Oh my gosh. So your nutrients are different. Your intake of food changes, not all the time, but pretty much, in my clinic, when I see or when I was seeing patients more regularly for pregnancy and for morning sickness, they're either not eating or they're eating a lot more carbs and less meats, or things just smell weird or all that. So then that can factor into not getting enough nutrients. So it is important to take prenatal vitamins. We also look at the calcium is going to be higher, and that's for fetal bone development, teeth development, and also vitamin D. And I like vitamin D for the support on the immune system as well. And then we do also want to look at omega-3 fatty acids. There's a number of benefits from that, but this is also going to help for women trying to get pregnant, for developing the egg and the embryo. So there's so many different things to think about, but if you're like, I don't know where to start, then it is recommended that women at the base minimum start with a prenatal vitamin. And then I always ask for my patients or my clients to add in a probiotic, because a healthy gut helps you break down and absorb the foods that you are eating. And this is nourishing your body's organs and the systems that are all integrated with creating a baby and holding on to a pregnancy. And then, of course, I also mentioned the omegas. Now, moving on to quality. This is a huge one. This is just a huge discussion. But what I would say, some people get concerned, oh my gosh, vitamins are so expensive. And yes, they are. I know, I take them. And first, back it up. Why? I already talked about why prenatally, why we benefit from taking vitamins. But if you think about it, and research shows that only 17 to about 18% of humans, of people who are eating just a regular diet, are getting the exact nutrients that they need just to stay healthy. That is such a low percentage if you think about it. Not even 1 in 5 people gets the required amount of vitamins from their diet. So that's why we supplement. And I'm not a huge fan to say, here's 20 supplements for you to take, because first of all, that is not good for your gut. And if your gut has any inflammation, it's not going to properly break down the vitamins or the supplements or even the herbs. That's going to, so basically you're spending a lot of money on supplements, and then you're taking them and taking them, you read this or this, and all the things online, but then your body's like, whoa, hold up, I can't even digest and absorb the nutrients and then have the energy to spread that throughout the rest. So if any woman's ever taken vitamins or supplements and then you have loose stool or bloating or gas or just queasy, that kind of thing, even before getting pregnant, it's probably too many vitamins or supplements. So that's a story for another day, but then we have to work on gut health. So back to the prenatals. How do you pick them? This is such a big topic, but what I would say is read the labels if they are approved, but then you're going to look and see that cheaper vitamins and supplements tend to have a lot more fillers in them, or preservatives in them, or dyes. So, and some have even tested with lead. So there's all these things to think about. You don't need to spend $1 million on a prenatal, but I definitely wouldn't go bottom of the barrel, because the strength of it will be a lot weaker, and then we don't know how they've been put together and held together, again, with preservatives and fillers and colors and chemicals and that kind of thing. So I'm not going to go into it, because it's a big discussion, but read the labels. And if you're like, well, this one's, $20 and this one's $5, or, whatever the pricing is where you are, then put them next to each other. And probably what you'll notice is the one that's a lot more expensive has a lot higher dose of vitamins in it, and that's why. So, if you're going to go cheaper, that's fine, but you do want to look at the quality. And again, the other thing is, what if you get a cheaper version and it's got decent quality, but maybe you've got to take 4 of those versus taking 1 or 2 of the other brand. And I'm not even going to mention any brands, because there's a gazillion of them out there. But don't forget to like or subscribe on the channel that you're watching. And then check the comments if they're not there right now. Sometimes they populate after I finish the live. And join me for a private Zoom where I can get way more detailed and it's a private live Zoom call with me weekly. You can feel free to ask questions, or you can just listen in, or you can watch the recording, but click on the link there. Thank you so much for watching today, and I look forward to your questions, your comments, your feedback, and I hope to see you on the private live. And the one this week is on Wednesday. So I hope to see you soon. Thanks for watching.